Good evening, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of the Silver Surge Sports Enthusiast Pop Culture Channel. I am again your host, Silver Surge. Tonight's episode features an exciting episode relating to the Phoenix Suns. Again, yes, this will be episode 2 on the Suns item. This one I got on Friday night. It was the Phoenix Suns versus the New Orleans Pelicans. And of course, I went for something none other than a promotional giveaway item, and this item was a Devin Booker bobblehead. Yes, you know the player. Number 1 on the Suns, the face of the franchise, the heir of Steve Nash, apparently for now. Devin Booker was having his bobblehead night on Friday night, and unfortunately, the Phoenix Suns were not able to pull out a victory against the Pelicans. But I did kind of expect, because they have won about two games in the last couple months, which has been pretty sad. But on the bright side, this bobblehead, which I will show to you right now, is a beautiful piece. As you can clearly see, this Devin Booker bobblehead resembles his likeness almost perfectly. It's really well put together. It's well crafted. It's well painted, as I say with most bobbleheads, but especially this one. Like, when I first opened the box last night, getting it after I got home, I was blown away with how accurate this bobblehead truly is. You can clearly see he's wearing a retro Suns uniform from Decades Night, which they've done every time this season. The facial hair, though, that they did on this bobblehead is just unworldly. His goatee looks amazing. The sideburns, you can clearly see, look really good. And then his famous hawk hairstyle is really cool. And obviously, you can see that his head bobbles very well, unlike the Steve Nash bobblehead, of course. But this one shows him dribbling a basketball. It's just a really cool pose. I know the light, since it is evening, kind of shows everything a lot brighter than it should, but you can't make it out. But the little advertisement is Southwest Airlines. I'm trying to... There it is. Southwest Airlines. You can clearly see that now. And then it's got the 50-year anniversary logo on the bottom on the court. But it's got a lot of detail on it, like I mentioned earlier. It's got the Phoenix Suns insignia, I guess you'd say, the old one anyway. On his shorts, it says Phoenix and number 1. It's just a really well-made bobblehead, and it says Booker on the back. It's got all the NBA logos. I absolutely love this bobblehead. I can't tell you how thrilled I was to get this thing, and especially just because it bobbles so much, because bobbleheads are named after, the way they bobble. So sometimes I get bobbleheads and they just don't bobble very good, because I think the glue they put inside the actual figure just doesn't, allow it to freely move very much. But this piece is very well put together. So overly satisfied with this bobblehead specifically. Probably my number 1 new favorite bobblehead, at least from basketball standpoint. But yeah, I can't get over how accurate it was made. So getting off of that, we went to the bobblehead game last night, or not last night, but Friday night, and we had a really good time. We got there super early, obviously, because we wanted to make sure we weren't on the first in line, because they only give away 5,000 to the fans that walked in the door. But I was blown away with how many people actually turned out for this game. And I know that people actually like to go to the games because of promotional giveaway items, and obviously, since the Suns have been struggling as much as they have this season, their record attendance has been pretty shitty. But they've been drawing a lot of people to the bobblehead games, and we went to the Steve Nash game about a month ago, and there was still a good turnout, and we had to leave super early. We left at like 3:15, and we still didn't get there till almost 4. And I was like the 4th or 5th person in line, and they only had like 15-20 boxes left by the time we got ours, so there wasn't a lot left, but I still felt kind of comfortable getting my bobblehead. But this game made me very nervous, because we left around the same time and we got there around the same time. And we were probably like the 8th or 10th person in line this time. And so, you're thinking you got a really reasonable chance to get one, and you should be good. And as it started getting closer and closer to game time, there was like this huge line of sixth man season ticket holders, and they weren't there for the last game against Steve Nash. I did not see that many people turn up for the Steve Nash game, which was weird, because Steve Nash in Phoenix Suns history, at least recently, is a little bit more relevant than Devin Booker. So I was really taken aback with how much little people showed up in comparison to the two nights. Don't get me wrong, there were still tons of people that showed up to the Steve Nash bobblehead night. But compared to the Booker night, it was a zoo. It was a freaking zoo. And so I'm looking over at this line, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people stacked behind each other, and it's snaking around the pavilion, the Auction Pavilion. And I was starting to sweat a little bit as they were opening the doors because season ticket holders get in at 5, and the rest of us get in at 5:30. And they were opening up, and people were going in, and boxes kept disappearing, and I was just starting to sweat, and I kept talking to my surrounding people that were in line with me. I was like, God, I really hope we get one of these bobbles. I'm really nervous about this. And they said, yeah, well, we should be good given where we're standing, and they ended up being right. But by the time we got in there, I kid you not, there was 12 boxes left, so there was even less than when we were at the Nash game, and that was very uncomforting. 12 boxes left, which means there was an average of 20 bobbles per box, so there was probably a little over 100, 150, if my math's correct. It could be off, but you get my point. There was not that many bobbleheads left, so had we been midway back or even a little bit farther back in the line, I would not have got one, and I would have been very salty because that's the only reason I wanted to go to this game. I knew the Suns were going to lose. I knew they weren't going to play well, and I knew Devin Booker was even out for that game because he has a strained wrist, and on his own theme night he's not even playing. So I was like, I better fricking get a bobblehead. So I was relieved to get one. I got 2 because my dad went with me, and then we had some other cool things happen to us after the sigh of relief of finally getting the bobblehead subsided. We were walking past once we got into the arena. We were walking past the food stand, the food stand. I don't know I know it has a specific name, but I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. And they were giving away a promotional cup. And I got one at the last Suns game. It was for Decades Night exclusive cups, and it had I think Dan Marley, and it had Charles Barkley and Connie Hawkins on it for Steve Nash night. Ironically, I didn't have Steve Nash on the cup, but I ended up getting one. I didn't pay for it, but I got one because some kid left his drink behind at the end of the game, and I ended up taking it home, washing it out, and collecting it. But this one I ended up buying. I got really excited because for Devin Booker night, of course, they had Devin Booker, of all players, on the front of it, and it's a really cool cup. It's all purple. It's it's got the 50 Seasons insignia logo on it, but it's got Booker, Dragan Bender, and then the other up-and-coming superstar that we just drafted, who's a rookie this year, Josh Jackson out of Kansas. So it's a really cool cup, and I had to have it, so I ended up buying that too. And then just when I thought I had everything I could possibly want from the Booker bobblehead night, I got the bobblehead and then the cup. Then I passed a little souvenir shop that wasn't really the main shop, but it was on the second story where we were, and I found a Devin Booker figurine, and they were selling these throughout most of the shops, and they had just gotten these in like 4 games ago, and they're super awesome. It's part of this new series that features Isaiah Thomas. You can see Devin Booker. It's got Lonzo Ball, Joel Embiid, and DeMar DeRozan, and Curry, obviously. So it's a really cool new lineup of NBA figures, and this Devin Booker bobblehead or figurine was 30% off in the store. So I was like, I kind of have to. I'm that kind of guy. I'm that kind of collector. I had no choice. I mean, I had a choice, but you know what I mean. I just couldn't resist. That's a better word. I could not resist, so I ended up getting the bobblehead, the cup, and then this Devin Booker figurine. So my night was set. In all accounts, I had a perfect night, with the exception of the Suns actually losing the game. But other than that, it was a fantastic night. I got everything I could have wanted, except for one thing. There was one thing that I regretted at the end of the night, and that was pregame. Even though Booker didn't play, he was warming up down on the court, and he was just kind of shooting freely and kind of exercising with his personal trainer. And I didn't even register in my head that after he was done practicing, he might have had an opportunity, or there might have been an opportunity for him to sign something. And I don't have any Phoenix Suns autographs. And of course, lo and behold, at the end of his practice, a mob of people migrated over to that section, and he signed a crap ton of autographs. He signed bobbleheads, figures, posters, and jerseys. And I was like, yeah, dang it. And we were way up in the nosebleeds, so I was like, I wonder if I went down there in time, if I could get him to sign like my cup or my figurine or my bobblehead. But then I was like, nope. I won't make it down in time knowing my luck. And sure enough, within like 3 or 4 minutes after I was thinking that to myself, he left. And I was like, God dang it. I really want Devin Booker's autograph now. So that was bugging me. So the next day I ended up going down to the sports shop yesterday on Saturday. I ended up going down to the sports shop down at PV Mall that I've mentioned in another video. My friend Aaron, he's the owner. I'm good friends with him. And he always gives me those discounts on the items. And I said, Aaron, what do you got Devin Booker? And he pointed me in the direction to all his cards that he had, all these autographed posters and pictures, and he had this gigantic 11 by 17, I think, if the dimensions are correct. Devin Booker in an orange alternate Suns uniform from last season, and it's fully signed, and it has the certificate of authenticity, the COA, on it too. And I told him, I said, how much? He goes, well, normally it's $125, but for you, he goes, I'll slap it down to $95, and then with tax, I had to pay a little bit over 100, but it was worth it because it's like I got all this Booker stuff, and I don't have his autograph, and he has been known to sign things very friendly, unlike other athletes. He'll stay and try to sign as many autographs as he can, but he doesn't do many autograph sessions unless the Suns coordinate it. So it's really hard to catch him. If he does a random thing in downtown, I'm usually working or I'm busy, so it's really difficult. So I was willing to pull the trigger because I got a nice paycheck about a week ago. So I was like, screw it. So that completed my Devin Booker perfect weekend. I had the 2 bobbleheads, the cup, the figure, and then I have this now beautiful 11 by 17 Devin Booker fully certified autograph on my wall. And I'll save that for another video presentation when I focus specifically on autographed merchandise. But it was really cool. I love having that. Like I said, other than the final score of the game where the Suns got destroyed by like 19 points, it was a phenomenal evening, and I couldn't have asked for any more. And the whole weekend ended up being a huge success. So that is my story for Devin Booker weekend. So this is already over 11 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed my content. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, anything you want to shoot at me as far as improving my channel or something I could work on, please feel free to comment down below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I really would appreciate that. That would help me a lot getting my channel up and up. Other than that, you guys have a great rest of your evening. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.